Over the past 7 months, Twitter has taken a plummet with its ability to function. Several outages, new unclear rules. Apparently, Elon didn't pay the bill for Google Cloud. So where should we go for social media as artists? Hello, this is Spicy, local possum and furry artist, here to talk about social media and being a furry artist. Yeah. So when Googling furry social media, my first result was a dating site. Not so great for selling art. Skipping that, I found a few Reddit threads talking about furry social media. Overall, the consensus seems to be that Twitter, Fur Affinity, and Reddit are the main ones. For smaller and more closed groups, Discord and Telegram. There are a few more outliers like Furry Amino and Facebook as well. The truth is, furries are very spread out. It depends on what you are looking for, and it depends on the social media. As an artist, this can be tricky to find your audience. I found this chart which shows the number of users that have changed over the course of time on social media. Why is Facebook so high? I really do not want to use Facebook anymore. So why is Twitter seemingly the #1 social media for furries? Now this is just me speculating, but it does seem to be the catch-all. People would log in not just for art, but for also like microblogging, posting fursuit photos, etc. Other things that other social media accounts were lacking. And you can post things that aren't exclusively furry related stuff. And at the time, the algorithm did a pretty good job of keeping social bubbles, which could be a good or bad thing. One glaring thing I noticed is that I never got random normie hate anywhere except for YouTube and Instagram. So this is a quick rundown from my experiences with these social media accounts and growing on there. I am just a small artist, so my experience will be different depending on your own audience. Usually, if you are a big enough artist, odds are you have a big enough following that's going to be faithful and follow you wherever you go. Alright, so starting with Twitter. So this is the appeal to it. It's easy to post. It has a very active community. If you're starting from scratch, it is hard to grow. You kind of depend on big accounts or several accounts to retweet your stuff. Now, the biggest overall con is that it's currently imploding and therefore quickly becoming very unreliable. Also, a short shelf life. By short shelf life, I mean the discoverability of your post. Once it's hit a few hours, it may not get any interactions from then on because it's not showing up on people's dashboards, and therefore people aren't sharing it because they don't see it. My experience on Twitter, once it's hit a few hours, it may not get any interactions from then on. Also, the tagging system isn't really used, unlike Instagram, which will go next. Instagram. There is no retweet, reshare function except for stories. Now, stories are kind of like Snapchat. It's like kind of a video format. You can write text on there and it disappears in 24 hours. So if you want to share some art on your stories, you share it, and then people who choose to look at stories will see it, and then if they really want to share it themselves, they click on the post, maybe they like it, and then they share it to their own stories. It is way more convoluted than retweeting. It also has a short shelf life. You can only reshare old posts by adding it to your stories or reposting it again from scratch. And tags are hit or miss as far as discoverability. I eventually just stopped using tags. It didn't seem to make a difference. For Affinity, it is old school. It hasn't updated its interface in years. It's difficult to grow. Search function isn't great. The main way of getting your art discovered is if enough people like it on the front page with recent posts, but it disappears within a few seconds. It's also loaded with controversy that I won't get into in this video, but just use at your own discretion. TikTok. It is specifically a video site, so that's great if you're a fursuiter, hard if you're a 2D artist. Discovery is in the For You page. It's kind of a lottery, but it's a better lottery than for Affinity in my opinion. Short shelf life. I posted something that got like 700 views in 5 minutes, which is great with a tiny account like mine. But then it got no views after those 5 minutes passed. Twitter, at least the shelf life lasts a few hours, not just minutes. Also, not user-friendly if you want to go back and find older content, and then your own shelf life can only be increased by reposting an old video. Reddit. So I specifically use r/furry, but you are at the mercy of the subreddit and the subreddit rules. There was a blackout during the API protest, which I totally understand, but the site went private, meaning everything you posted on there disappeared from your own page. I couldn't even access it to delete any posts. It was just gone completely. It luckily came back, but it is unreliable in that sense. Also a bit of a lottery, very short shelf life. You can cross-post, so that is helpful. You can reshare your old posts without having to make them again, and cross-post them to other Reddits. Tumblr. Okay, so now this is not an ad, but it is my personal favorite at the moment. Is it flawless? No. but it has the reassurability, like Twitter, with reblogs instead of retweets, and more people can see your stuff if they share it. As far as I know, reblogging your own art doesn't have as big of an impact with you on the algorithm. It seemed like Twitter didn't really like it when you reblogged your own stuff, so just like show it to less people the second time around. Tagging system can boost your work. It occasionally appears on people's dashboards like this. Slightly longer shelf life due to reblogging and working tags. I also use tags to organize my own page so things can be found again really easily. Then also the archive function makes browsing way easier. I like the interface, it's better on desktop personally. I've seen other smaller sites pop up, but they never really got the same traction as some of these bigger sites, especially if they only cater to artists. It's harder to find people who aren't artists who will enjoy your work and buy your work. So, do I recommend having as many accounts as I tried on this list? No, I think 1 to 2 dedicated accounts is reasonable. For me, it's Tumblr and Twitter. Now, maybe instead of Twitter, it will be Instagram. The rest, like Patreon and YouTube, require different content, so I keep those on a separate schedule. I still pop into other sites and post when I have time or I need to advertise for commissions, but generally, less is more. That way, your time isn't spread out too thinly. In conclusion, I'm gonna keep posting on Twitter until it completely explodes. Anyway, let me know what y'all end up moving to or what your favorite site is, because I'm very curious what other folks are going and doing out there. This is just my personal experience and opinion and just a little bit of insight on how some of these sites work. Well, thank you so much for watching. Bye.